Carla Connor noticed fine things. She ran underworld like a seamstress runs a hem, careful, exacting, proud of craft and content to correct what was off. People often envied the steadiness of her stare. It suggested someone who had counted the cost of a life and refused to misplace a cent of her dignity. Kit, meanwhile, tall, quietly dangerous when annoyed, with a way of building alliances like a man laying stones, had recently become more entangled with Carla's world. He had his own reasons for caution, and both public and private stakes to protect. Rumors accreted in Weatherfield like lichen, slowly, almost unnoticed, then unmistakably. Over the last months, Becky had become the hub of 1,000 small stories. Loans written off, favors exchanged, a string of odd barter deals behind the sweet shop's new shelving. None of them, when taken alone, seemed decisive. Together they made a pattern. To Carla and Kit, that pattern looked like a leak. A slow, dangerous betrayal with human faces and certified signatures. It started with a document. Not dramatic at first, just a ledger with ink smeared in its corners, a supplier list with slightly odd timestamps, a delivery docket that didn't match what had arrived. Carla found it in the accounts tray one gray morning, tucked between invoices like a secret that had been left out to be found. She had a way of reading numbers like faces. Irregularities didn't hide from her. Someone's been playing loose with the accounts, she told Kit when she called him that night. She kept her voice like a steady temper so she wouldn't inflame herself. Kit's answer was a pause. He was a man who weighed things before he replied. If that's true, it's not just money, it's trust. And in our circles, trust is currency. They met in the back of the Rovers where the light didn't blind and the voices softened. A plan, drawn slowly and with care, began to take shape. If Becky was taking advantage of people, defrauding suppliers, making secret deals that undercut others, then they couldn't let it slide. Not because they disliked Becky personally, though Carla's feelings for Becky were complicated and Kit's even more so, but because in a place like Weatherfield, such things metastasize. One cheat becomes tolerated, and soon the whole ledger slides. Confrontation first, Carla suggested. Publicly humiliate and you create a martyr. We need intelligible evidence. Records. A pattern. Not hearsay. Kit agreed. He liked things that were precise. We gather the receipts. We get the suppliers to sign statements. We don't run in with torches. At first, there was nothing dramatic. They simply watched, recorded, and cataloged. Kit used contacts he had cultivated, suppliers who owed him favors, a clerk who tipped him a note from time to time. Carla asked the accountant she trusted, a taciturn man who had been loyal in ways she could count on, to run an audit of a particular series of transactions that seemed odd. They kept their circle small. Rumors were fragile things, and the fewer people who knew, the less likely it would be to fray into gossip. Becky, unaware at first, continued her life in the shop. She sold pick and mix, bottled emotions cleverly disguised as sweets, and gave small loans to people who needed them in ways a bank wouldn't understand. Her charm made it easy for people to trust her, where she had done wrong, and no one disputed that small, sometimes venial errors had occurred. It had often been under the logic of helping someone out of a bind. But where does compassion cross into manipulation? And if manipulated funds padded the margins of her life, was it benevolence or theft? Carla held her tongue through community meetings and the daily traffic of life. It was hard. She was not a woman who liked being kept in suspense. The more she watched, the more anomalies revealed themselves. A delivery to Becky's backroom when the shop should have been closed, invoices in Cyril's name that had nothing to do with Cyril, receipts recorded at odd hours. The audit, when it came, told a clearer story. A series of payments diverted in small amounts, spread over time, each too small to register shock individually, but collectively large enough to matter. Kit, with his contacts and calm, orchestrated a discreet sting. They would need a supplier willing to play along and report back once Becky accepted a special under-the-table arrangement. Some in Weatherfield were tired of rumors and welcomed the clarification. Others worried about the moral hazard of entrapping someone who might be desperate. But desperation did not exonerate circumvention, they told themselves. When the sting finally happened, it felt both anticlimactic and inevitable. Becky accepted the extra arrangement, a small secret discount in exchange for preferential supply. It was the kind of thing that made people's stomachs knot when they thought too hard about it, a kind of betrayal by omission. Evidence.